Well, the big news around the cruising industry this week is that Disney Cruise Line just welcomed their first two ships to their brand new private island experience, Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Now, this is the second private island that Disney Cruise Line has offered. Of course, for many, many years now, they've had Castaway Cay. And this really got me thinking about cruise line operated private islands. Why do they exist, and why do so many keep emerging? So welcome to my very first Thursday Thoughts. I thought I would start putting these together, maybe not every Thursday, but on some Thursdays. And I plan to use this as a method to bring you some of the latest happenings around the cruise industry that might not fit in other videos that we can just quickly talk about. I can give you my thought on the issue, and then I want you to sound off. I want you to go down in the comments and let me know what you think about the issue, because we do have a great cruising community here on Zach the Traveling Man, and I want to hear what you think about these topics. So cruise line owned private islands, what do we think about these? Well, they're not a new thing. In fact, I did a little bit of research and went back all the way to 1977. That's when the first private island owned by a cruise line was developed. And that was actually Great Stirrup Cay, which is owned by Norwegian Cruise Line. But Great Stirrup Cay really kicked off this trend of private islands owned by the cruise lines. And now there are many. I mean, we can just go through some of them. MSC operates their Ocean Cay, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is actually located right next to Great Stirrup Cay. And of course, Coco Cay is operated by Royal Caribbean. Their ship stopped there. And recently it was announced that Celebrity Cruises ships would also be stopping there. So adding another cruise line into the mix of these private islands. You also have Half Moon Cay, which is operated by Carnival Cruise Line, and Princess Cay, which is operated by Princess Cruises. Now, most of these private islands are located in the Bahamas, and that's strategic because the Bahamas are very close to Florida, and a lot of cruises leave from Florida. It really helps the cruise lines when they're building out itineraries that they can have a port very close to the home port of that cruise ship that they can stop off at. Now, in addition to private islands, private destinations also exist. Now, private destinations are different than private islands because they're much larger, and the cruise line only owns a small portion of that area. And some of these include Amber Cove, which is operated by Carnival Cruise Line. You have Labadee in Haiti, which is operated by Royal Caribbean Group. You have Harvest Cay in Belize, which is operated by Norwegian Cruise Line. And Carnival Cruise Line has a new private destination that's going to be called Celebration Cay. That's going to be on Grand Bahama Island, so just to the east of Freeport in the Bahamas, and that's going to be opening about a year from now. That's scheduled to have some of its first ships stop there in July of 2025. So why do these private islands and private destinations exist? Well, one of the reasons I've already mentioned, and being that it's kind of the proximity there in the Bahamas, but another reason is that berths or port space is so precious and limited, especially considering the amount of new cruise ships that are constantly entering the cruising industry. I mean, every year you have maybe 5 to 10 new cruise ships across all the major cruise lines. They're all trying to go to the same ports. The cruise lines develop their own private destinations. That allows them more places to go. The second reason why there's so many emerging is because it creates a controlled environment for the cruise lines, meaning they control the experience that folks are going to have on their private islands or private destinations. And in addition to that, that also means they're going to have additional revenue because they own and operate everything on that island. So you consider like a Coco Cay. Coco Cay has the water park, the thrill water park there. They have private beaches. They have cabanas that you can rent. Who is making all that money? It's the cruise lines, right? They're not going to a port where you can be let off and go to a number of restaurants or have a number of shore excursion experiences where you would pay extra to a third party. Anything you pay extra for on these private islands or in these private destinations is going into the pockets of the cruise lines. So it's a big revenue source for them. That's why they continue to buy up this land and have more and more cruise ships stop there. So now we get to my thought. My thought on these cruise line, private islands, and private destinations is they're pretty amazing in my experience. They're so well planned out, they're well maintained. Again, because the cruise line controls everything, a lot of times they have staff or crew that just lives on that island and they constantly maintain the island. Because it is a controlled environment, there's fewer people. It's not like going to the Bahamas or places in the Caribbean where you're just coming in your cruise ship in the morning and joining the general population and all the other tourists who might be visiting that island that day. No, when your cruise ship comes into one of these private destinations, you're the only people there that day, and that makes it exclusive feeling. Like it's just me and the people I've been traveling with on this ship all week that are getting to enjoy this island today. And in my opinion, these are some of the best destinations in all of the Caribbean. Perfect Day at Coco Cay and Resorts World Bimini are probably my two favorite private island destinations in the entire Caribbean. Anytime I see an itinerary with either of those destinations, I'm more likely to book it because it does make a difference. So that's my thought. It's your time now to sound off. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about these private destinations and these private islands that are owned by the cruise lines? Are you more or less likely to book an itinerary that includes these destinations? And finally, would you book a cruise just so that you could visit one of these private island destinations? Let me know down in the comments what you think. Personally, I think we're going to continue to see more and more of these private island destinations emerge in the future. I think cruise lines are going to depend on these to have places to send folks out in the Caribbean when they sail down there. And also, I think they're just getting rave reviews. We just witnessed all the anticipation and praise that Disney received because of their new destination. I think we're going to see a lot more of these. And these private islands and private destinations are absolutely worth a visit. And you also got to factor in that a lot of what you're going to receive on the ship, things like the buffet and food, sometimes your drink packages, those are all going to convey when you go out onto the private island. So a lot of the private islands, and you just have to check with the cruise line because I think it probably depends on what cruise line you're sailing with, but a lot of the private islands, if you have a drink package on board the ship, you'll be able to use that on the private island. They have food shacks and buffets and barbecues where the food is included. Again, just one of the perks of visiting a cruise line owned and operated private island. So again, sound off down in those comments. Let me know what you think about all these new private island experiences and potentially all the ones to come in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next adventure.